Farmers today are facing rising costs, volatile markets, and extreme weather. The A Better Way to Farm podcast digs into strategies to help you take control of farm inputs and maximize profit so your farm can thrive for generations. Remember to take advantage of our free resources at abetterwaytofarm.com. Now, from America's Heartland, here's your host.
Are you going to make any changes for the 2027 growing season? And if so, how are you going to decide what those are? Hey, Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we increase yields and improve profits. We're super excited to come at you today with this episode of the podcast in an attempt to give you something to think about. Oftentimes we spend the season as we get into the fall and we start doing harvest and maybe do some fall tillage, and we have a little bit of time to think. Oh, I know, we have XM, AM, FM, all the different radios, we have podcasts, we have all kinds of different things we can do to keep ourselves rolling. And some of those are really good because we can learn a lot from some of those sources. However, sometimes just running the machine and thinking is a good thing. I personally love to mow our pastures because it gives me a chance to leave the radio off, leave the phone off, and think about some things that I need to do different, some things I need to decide, some things I can do in the future. And so as we start looking forward to 2027, the question becomes, what are we going to do? Are we going to do it exactly the same way? Maybe we had a fantastic year and we're very content with where we are, and that is a good idea to go with that. Or maybe we say, hey, we had a really good year, but we'd like to do just a little bit better because that's kind of why God put us here on this earth, was to do a little bit more and do a little bit better each and every day, each and every year. And so we're saying, okay, let's take a look here. And so the question becomes, where are we going to go to get our bright ideas? Now, one of the things that comes to us is I get a lot of newsletters. I'm holding a newsletter in my hand, and this newsletter is just laced with all kinds of new products. It's full of different things that they think that we should try, that we need to use. They just continue to send this over and over again. A lot of really cool names on some of these things. And, you know, we've got the bin buster, we've got the truck breaker, we've got the yield maker, we've got all these different things with really cool names. The question becomes, what's the science? You know, it's funny because as we came through this last 7 years and we came out of this mess that we've had, and all of a sudden the phrase trust the science has almost become funny. And I'm going to go with actually what the phrase should be is question the science. I feel like true science is always going to be subject to being questioned, because if it's true, the questions won't hurt. And if it's not true, then the questions are a really good idea. Which brings me to this. What are you going to do here in the next 30 to 60 days? It's mid-August. We're getting ready to get the combines out, or probably some of you already have them out. I know some of my boys down south, Arkansas, some of those guys farther south, they're already shelling corn, and I can appreciate that. But some of the things that we might consider is going to a field day. Now, we get a chance to go to a lot of different field days. A lot of them are primarily selling events. And I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with that, because it's good to go and it's good to get new information and to learn about new products that are out there, to see what it is that they can do, to see if maybe there is something there that can help in our operation, something that is a fit for us. And not every new product that comes out is a fit for everybody's operation. That's not how this works. As you guys know, we firmly do not believe that one size fits all in any capacity. And so we want to make sure we're doing that. We get a chance, we can go to a lot of seed field days, and some of those are very, very good. I'm always interested to go and to hear those guys, and some of them will cross over and talk about things other than seed, and they'll talk about, you know, fungicides and what they're seeing with that, insecticides, what they're seeing with that, take a look at do some weed control and talk about some of those things. And I'm excited about those things because those are all things that play into the overall picture. The one thing I've figured out in 33 years of doing this, there is no one silver bullet. Moving up the yield curve, moving up the profitability curve requires doing a lot of little things very, very well. And the more of those things we do well, the more money we can make, the more profit we can have, and the more successful we can become. And so those are some things that we can go and we can look at. I would encourage you, there are different people doing different things with fertility field days. us included. We have a series of those. I'm going to talk about them here in a little bit. When we go to those fertility field days, I always like to see the pinch, poke, and feel tour is what I call it. Are they going to let me get in the field? Are they going to let me put my hands on some ears? Or am I going to be able to see the girth? Am I going to be able to see the length? Am I going to be able to just walk through the fields and see it? Or is it going to be stuff that's just purely on the end? Now, make no mistake, sometimes we plan the perfect field day, we have the perfect location, and Mother Nature deals us a bad hand, and it rains that day, or it rains 5 inches the day before, and you can't get in the field because it's muddy. And then they have to dig some roots, and they have to pull some ears, and they have to go to town to a building or go up to the shop or whatever it is. Those are totally understandable. And sometimes it's just that they don't want you out in the field. Let me assure you guys, moving forward between now and the time harvest starts, we're going to have 12 more field days. We've already had some really good field days. We had an alfalfa field day at Riverside, Iowa. We had a really good corn, soybean, and alfalfa field day in Middletown, Missouri. We had a tremendous corn, soybean, and alfalfa field day in El Paso, Illinois, and those are all passed. But let me tell you about the ones that are coming up. Between August and September, we will be in 8 different states at 12 different locations. And these are opportunities for you to come and to take a look and to learn. I can assure you that we are not trying to sell you product there. We are trying to get you information. Our goal with our field days is to give you information and make you think, to make you go home, and when you're driving that combine, to ask questions, to say, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? Some of these products that I'm looking at in this newsletter that's laying here on my desk, a good chunk of them are those products that have multiple micronutrients in one package. And we're going to talk specifically about why that might not be your best idea at these field days. The thing is, if I buy a multi-pronged approach and I get different micros in one micro pack, will it work? Maybe. The fact of the matter is, so many people are so short in micronutrients that they're going to find out that a lot of times they will get some kind of a response in that. But if we want the response that we need, wouldn't it make more sense to question the science, to say, why am I doing that? And maybe we should question the science and say, hey, could I take a soil test that would show me exactly how much zinc, or exactly how much manganese, or magnesium, or copper, or boron, or iron, and I could put on exactly the right amount to get the maximum return on my investment? Because ROI is where it is at. And the answer to that is yeah. But I'm going to invite you, come to these field days. The team would love to meet you. We are not going to try and you can leave your checkbook at home that day. We don't need any money from you. What we need is you to show up and go home and think. And then if you have further interest, you reach out to us. And then we will come and talk about what it is that you might want to do. So where are your opportunities going to be at? These are in order. You reach out to us. You can send a text to Karen at 641-919-5570. But in order, we will be in Erie, Illinois. Then the next time we get together, we'll be in 2 places at the same time. We'll be in Gilmore City, Iowa, and Castelia, Iowa. I have 2 different ones going there. Then in late August, we're going to be in Oshkosh, Wisconsin for another really good field day. In early September, we'll be in Chamberlain, South Dakota. We'll move to Mason City, Iowa. We'll be in Stewart, Minnesota. And then later on in the month of September, we will be in Martville, New York. And then we have one day here where we'll have the whole team will be out and be very, very busy. We're going to be in Dakota, Minnesota, Charlotte, Michigan, and Milton, Iowa, all on the same day. That's going to be a big day for the team. We'll be spread out with a whole bunch of people going a whole bunch of directions and doing a whole bunch of good work. And then we're going to wind this year up in mid-September in Kingsville, Ohio. So if any of those are of value to you, I would encourage you guys that it is worth your time. And I don't care if you have to drive 3 hours. Here's what I'll do. I'll guarantee you it'll be worth your time. If you get there and you say, hey, I didn't get anything of value out of that, you let us know and we'll reimburse your fuel. We want to make sure that you understand this is all about figuring out how to do it better, how to do it in a little bit of a different way that either reduces our input cost and or increases our yield, because that's what we're looking at. Maybe it's going to be taking a look at how can I really successfully reduce my nitrogen. Maybe it's how do I figure out what surfactants will bring me the most ROI. We have some interesting tests being ran on using different surfactants with fungicides to see what the ROI is just because we add the surfactant into the fungicide. How much better does it make it work? Those are going to be things that some of these field days are going to look at, and we're going to be very interested to follow through and see. We're going to have some work going on that's going to be a multi-year study that we've already started running through 26 and into clear through 27. And you get to be a part of seeing how we kick that off and what it is that we're going to do, because it's going to be really interesting. I find that kind of work fascinating to see what those things are and what can we do that just simply makes more money. Guys, I don't have anything against the seed corn companies. Every one of us needs some of them. And there's a lot of good companies out there. However, I do not enjoy going and just listening to the same stuff. This is 2746 and it's a good defensive hybrid. And this is 3742 and this is an offensive hybrid. You might want to put it on some of your better soil. Thank you for that. We already knew that. What I want to know is what makes these things specific, what makes these things unique, and exactly how is it that I pair up that hybrid to what farm? When we're going in here to the fertility side, what is it that makes this unique? And how is it do I pair up my fertility to each individual field? How do I know how I'm going to get the most out of what I spend? How am I going to get the maximum ROI? So guys, I just wanted to dedicate this podcast to, and let me say this, I want to dedicate this podcast to you and to looking forward to 2027. And I want to encourage you, whether you go to our field day or someone else's field day, go to a couple of events. Go and see what it is that you can learn. Go and listen to what some of the other guys, not necessarily even the people who are speaking, but one of the big values at our field days is to be able to talk to other growers and say, here's what's working and here's what's not, because those guys don't have a dog in the fight. And I truly value the grower panels that a person has at these, where they talk about the good and the bad and the maybe the ugly. And as we start looking at that, there is going to be some. So guys, the word of the day is ROI. The event of the day is a field day. And we look forward to seeing you there. How do you get in touch with us? You can text Karen at 641-919-5570. Feel free to reach out. And guys, as always, we hope you're having a better day.